Hello, I'm going to show you how to make this bag. It's like a little mesh bag, market bag, beach bag. Here are the supplies you'll need. I used 4 bunches of this yarn, 2 of each color. The yarn is cotton, has a weight of 4. So I used 2 of these per color, so that's about 140 grams per color or 240 yards per color. And then I also needed a yarn needle, scissors, a 5mm hook, and a 5.5mm hook. So this bag is made in 2 pieces and then stitched together. So there are 3 components: the base, the middle, and the straps of each half. I've linked the different parts of the bag to the video and in the description. So if you make this project, you can leave and easily find where you left off. If you do make this project, I'd love to hear how it goes. If you have any questions, and let me know about any variations that you come up with. Don't forget to save the video so that you can come back and find where you left off. So I'm gonna start by crocheting the base of the bag. The base is created from 2 different colors using crocheting with 2 strands of yarn at the same time. This is just to create a sturdy, thick base. I'll grab 1 strand of each color and a thicker hook than is recommended on the yarn. So I'm using a 5.5mm. So I'll create the slip knot. So wrap the yarn twice around my finger, pull this loop over off my finger, insert the hook into the loop and pull tight. Next I will chain stitch 42 stitches. So 1, 2. So the foundation chain is completed. Create a row of double crochet down the foundation chain. So to do this, I will double crochet in the 3rd stitch from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, this one. So yarn over, insert, making sure I get both strands on the hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, I'll pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2 loops, and repeat this down the row. Once the first row of double crochet is completed, I will create another row of double crochet for a total of 2. So in order to do this, I start by chaining 2 to create the height for the next row, and then I turn, and then I'll double crochet in the 1st stitch, making sure this time that the hook goes through all 4 strands. Yarn over, pull through, and then just double crochet as usual down the row. Once the 2nd row of double crochets is complete, I'm going to take some scissors and cut off the darker color. And then pull the dark loop only off the hook, and then put the empty strand through the loop and pull tight. Now I'm ready to continue on with only 1 strand of yarn. Next, I will replace the 5.5mm hook with a 5mm hook, and then chain 2 to create the height for the next row. Turn, and then double crochet into the 1st stitch, making sure that the hook is inserted into all 4 strands. Next, skip a stitch and double crochet into the 2nd stitch from the hook. Chain 1, and then double crochet into the same stitch again. And then repeat this to the end of the row. So skip a stitch, double crochet into the 2nd stitch, chain 1, double crochet into the same stitch again. When I get to the end of the row, there is 1 stitch left. So I'll double crochet in that stitch. Chain 2. And then turn. So from here, I'll double crochet into the first stitch. And then double crochet into the chain 1 space. So right here. And then chain 1, and then double crochet into the chain 1 space again. And then double crochet into the next chain 1 space, and repeat this to the end of the row. When I get to the end of the row, there is 1 stitch left right here. I will double crochet into that stitch. So that's 2 rows completed. I will repeat this 19 more times for a total of 21 rows. So to make this strap, we'll start using the remaining yarn from the body of the bag. So I will crochet across 5 V-stitches. Once 5 V-stitches are complete, I'm going to create the edge of the strap by double crocheting into the edge of this V-stitch beneath, so into this stitch. And then chain 2, turn my work, and then complete the remainder of this row like normal and come back the other way until you get to the inner crease like normal, and when we get to the inside we'll perform the next decrease. So I've completed the remainder of the previous row and I've completed the next row. This row should contain 4 V-stitches. Now I'm going to show you how to do a decrease when you're approaching the inner edge. Doing a decrease while approaching the inner edge is just a regular decrease. I stopped the last double crochet while there were still 2 loops remaining on the hook. And I'll start the next double crochet while those 2 loops are still remaining. So I'll insert into the last stitch of the row. And then pull through 2 loops and then yarn over, and this time pull through the remaining 3 loops on the hook. And that's how to perform the decrease. And then to refresh your memory on how to perform a decrease going away from the inside, I'll show the start of the next row as well. So chain 2, turn my work. Instead of double crocheting in the first stitch, I will double crochet into the chain 1 space instead. And I'll treat that like the edge of the row. And then from here, I'll perform the V-stitches in the remaining 3 stitches like usual. So start in the next chain 1 space. And repeat this until there are a total of 6 rows of decreases, and then there should be 3 V-stitches remaining. And when the first strap is complete, repeat it on the other side. Once the second strap is complete, repeat the entire process again to make the other half of the bag, this time using the second color. So I'm going to do a slip stitch along these edges, line up the starting point with the inside of the bag here, and line up the finishing point with the inside of the bag on this side. So I have the two halves of the bag lined up, making sure that the ugly side is facing out. I'm going to follow the top edge over to the side edge. Make sure that the rows of both sides are lined up. I'm going to insert my hook into both edges. Then I'm going to pull through some yarn of a darker color, tie a little slip knot, and then I'm going to slip stitch down the edge of the bag, making sure that the two sides stay lined up the entire time. So insert my hook, pull up a loop, and then pull that loop through, and repeat this down the length of the edge. So because there aren't clear stitches along the edge, it's a little hard to tell where to make a stitch. So you're just gonna have to try to keep the stitches even with the project so that it doesn't stretch it or tighten it. Once all the sides are attached together, I'm gonna attach the straps next. So we're gonna take two straps on the same side and line up the edges like this, and then sew them together using an invisible stitch. So I'm going to use an invisible stitch instead of a slip stitch, just because I want this seam to be smooth and comfortable, not clunky because it's rested against my shoulder. Okay, so I'm going to take a yarn needle with some yarn, line up the edges, insert the needle into the edge, leave a little bit of a tail, tie a knot. And then to do the invisible stitch, I'll go into the inner loop of one side of the strap and the inner loop of the other side of the strap. And then repeat this going back the other way. And just repeat this down the row. And then when I get to the end of the row, I'm going to pull the yarn tight like that and then loosen it out. And that's what makes the stitch invisible. And then repeat this on the other strap. The last thing to do is to weave in all the ends. So to do this, take an end, thread it through the needle, and then following the stitches, trying to remain in the color that matches so it stays invisible. Following the stitches, you're just gonna sew it into the project. Once it's a good amount into the piece, I like to pull it tight and then cut the extra off. And the end is hidden. The bag is complete and just needs to be turned inside out. And that's it, the bag is complete. I hope you try it out.